This
meeting.
conference will now be recorded.
I'm going to ask that everybody please stand. In the upper corner of my picture is the American flag. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And then I'm going to ask you to take a moment of silence for all of those that are either suffering or has passed away through the COVID-19 virus, and for all those that are out there actually working and risking their lives to keep them alive. So thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with the administrative business. The way this works, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'll call for a motion and a second, and then Desiree will do a roll call so that we know that everybody has responded. I need a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the April 2nd, 2020 Town Board meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Who's going to second?
Who's going to make it?
Jackie can make it. I'll second it. Tyler.
Okay.
I'll second. Tom will second.
We already got a second, Tom.
You're a
Okay.
third, Tom.
All right.
I'm so glad you all loved my minutes.
I'm there.
Roll call, Desiree?
Supervisor Palermo,
Yes.
Councilman Burke,
Yes.
Councilman Etzel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Thank you. It's approved. Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve abstract number 7. Desiree, can you please read that for us?
Yep, abstract 7 contains vouchers 200555 through 200605 and totals $180,410.04.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll
I
make
need
the
a
motion.
second.
Second.
Okay, when you make a motion, please state your name so we know. Although I know your voices, it would help so people can follow along. So
Second
I
by
think-
Tyler.
And
Thank
motion
you.
by Tommy,
Oh.
right?
Yes.
Correct. Roll call.
Supervisor Palermo,
Yes.
Councilman Burke,
Yes.
Councilman Etzel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go on to new business. I know, Desiree, you had a question about this. I didn't take it off simply because I just want to get it done so we don't forget about it. And you can advertise it whenever you think would be an appropriate time. You don't have to do it this week. Okay? Okay, so I need a motion and a second to authorize the town clerk to advertise for number 2 fuel oil bids. I will make that motion, Frank Palermo.
I'll second that motion, Jackie Hernandez.
Okay, Desiree, please.
Supervisor Palermo,
Yes.
Councilman Burke,
Yes.
Councilman Etzel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, B, authorize the supervisor to sign renewal agreement with Stratagem Securities. I sent that out to everybody, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday. I hope you all had a chance to look over it. It's for 86, what was the final total on that, Desiree? 86.50.
20
Well,
something.
I have a couple of questions on it because it includes
Okay.
equipment at the water department and the highway department, which you shouldn't have in your proposal because you don't own those buildings.
Oh, no. I looked through it and yeah, that's not.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of feedback. I don't know what you said.
Okay, it says, I didn't realize, I thought this was all Woodbury, town of Woodbury.
No,
I will give him a call, we'll hold it up, we'll put it on the next, agenda item.
well, do you want to, I'm sorry. I did draft something for you if you want me to read it for you.
Okay,
Okay. So what I had drafted was to authorize you to sign a maintenance agreement with Stratagem Security for the maintenance of all security equipment located at the courthouse, supervisor's office, town clerk and assessor's office, both libraries, the police department, and the community center Earl Reservoir. And then in parentheses, I write the proposal lists the village water and sewer department and highway department. Supervisor Plummer will obtain an updated list with these two sections removed from the attached agreement. And then
Perfect.
Then I go on to say that the fees will be pursuant to the Orange County prevailing wage rates, which
Which
is,
he provides, yeah.
which I list, yeah.
Yes.
So you
Okay.
can do it that way, or you can table it until you get a new one. It's up to you.
No. That's good.
What about the, I have a question. What about the
Go ahead.
pool? Do we have a camera? There was talk of camera at the,
It's being installed. It isn't in yet, so
Okay.
it would automatically be, anything, this is mostly for things that,
right,
don't have-
older things, right.
right, correct.
Okay,
Because that would automatically be, warranted for this year.
right.
Anybody else have any discussion on it?
Yeah, Frank, do we have Frank, before we move ahead, how about the new rec building up at the res?
It's on here. It's Woodbury Community Center at the Res Security System.
Hey, Frank,
Yeah,
when they do the yearly maintenance, you're aware of what date they do that? Got it.
it'll
I'm
be
sorry,
done.
I didn't hear what he said.
When they do the yearly maintenance, we're aware of when they're actually there.
Somebody's
Yeah.
got paper moving and I can't
Oh.
type in here and see at the same time. I'm sorry.
That was me.
Okay,
Sorry.
the yearly maintenance is doing what, Bob? I'm sorry.
When they're doing the maintenance,
Uh,
who's there to not really watch them, just to make sure that it's being done?
Bob, that will be done because I think it states that we have to list those people, and it would probably be Joey Gianzero because he's on the buildings and grounds. So he would be there and present. They would schedule the meetings, and he would be there to take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Frank, you
Yeah.
also told me this afternoon you negotiated the two remote supports for nothing?
Yes, correct.
you
They are
list.
free. They will be free of charge.
Okay,
That has to be removed from the proposal because it currently says $75 per hour.
No, we discussed it and there is no charge on that. To also put that in with it, but there is no charge.
So there will be no $75 per hour charge for any remote support.
No, the remote support it's not $75 an hour. It's $750 per year. And then there's a remote support for the network video system, which is $1,500 per year. And they will not be included. I mean, it's included in the 8628. It's, if you add everything up, you'll see that they're free of charge.
Okay, but did we check to make sure that this 8628 does not include the water, sewer, and highway equipment?
It does, so I gotta give it a call, so it'll be less.
All right, then maybe you should probably table it then to make sure you get the correct.
That's
info.
why,
I think
Yeah.
we should just get it clear.
yeah, I will table it and ask them to give me a new proposal without those buildings involved. Okay, so then we're gonna move on to discussion to authorize our town attorney, Joe McKay, to research and work with Orange County on the transfer of town property that's located at Nature and Dunderberg Road in Central Valley. But right now is where they're working on doing a right-hand turn, which is in the, well, it used to be the town, but now it's the village planning board in order for them to get more permits and to move forward with their project up there. So that is required, and as you know, a lot of it's been cleaned out already. And Joe, remember you were telling me that there were two separate permits?
yes.
I just want to
Okay.
confirm, this is for the Woodbury Junction development, or is
Yes.
this? Okay. thank
Correct,
you.
correct. Joe, I spoke to, I got to talk to Bill Brodsky today, and I mentioned to him what the difference was and why there were two permits. One is for to put in the actual lights, which are not on our, and the other is for the right-hand turn and to do that construction. So that may help with your looking it up, because we would have no control over that permit.
Okay, I had sent this afternoon, and only because I'm doing this with my phone, I can't both look at the resolution and participate at the same time. I had prepared a resolution that essentially just authorizes me to perform research and work with the county to determine whether an easement is required, or to determine whether or not the county will ultimately want to take the property by deed. We know that this is part of the approval of the Woodbury Junction, or WP3 project. It's all contemplated. It's referenced in the approving resolution. We simply need to confirm the section, block, and lots that the work is being done on. We also want to see what the work is and where it's located on our property. I anticipate that the county will only want to take by deed a very limited portion of the lot, meaning just the portion or just the area that has the improvements on it. So this may be a situation where where the people that are responsible to do the work under the approvals may need to have the property surveyed. So this is going to take a little while to get all the information and to get the paperwork straight. But I don't have any legal objection to them doing the work if it was the work that was proposed and contemplated by the approvals. That's what they're supposed to do. We just need to make sure that the details are right.
Okay, the other thing is that, if I'm not mistaken, there were permits issued back in 2017. Maybe we can get a copy of those from the building department, because that probably has a lot of explanation as to what's being done.
That's fine. I spoke to the attorney for the contractor several times today. He's going to be providing me with copies of the permits. We're going to try to locate the details with respect to the work. So we're moving forward. It'll be fine. We're moving forward. Once we're comfortable that we have all the information that we need, I expect that the county will want and will be able to provide the county with an assurance that we have no objection to the work being performed. And then the second step in that equation would be actually asking the county, or trying to get the county to take the, because of course the town doesn't want to own a portion of an intersection or a portion of a right-hand turn lane. That wouldn't make any sense at all from a liability standpoint. So I'm working with their attorney. I contacted the county on Tuesday. I haven't gotten a response yet. But again, the resolution is authorizing me to make these contacts, do this research, and work with the county to get this resolved.
Okay, any board members? I'll go through it. Tom, do you have anything that you want to add to this?
Well, my thoughts are that, being that that intersection is extremely busy during the school years, especially with the buses. And can you hear me?
Better. Yeah, it's better. You were too close.
I was too close. Okay, I'm sorry. Being that, how about that?
I see Desiree, like, she's like getting
There's a
startled.
lot of, yeah, there's like a lot of crackling.
I don't hear any noise. There's no noise by me.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just want to know, I'm just thinking that, being that that intersection gets very busy during the school year from September to June, especially with the buses twice a day, Monday to Friday, and even in the evening with the after-school activities. That right lane, I know it makes a right, it goes towards WP3 on Integer. With the work that was done and was just completed on Route 32 and exit 131, do you think we should discuss maybe possibly having another survey or something done that was, just in case, or just if we're going to do a light or another a lane to come up for the buses to make a right. Will that cause any impact? My concern is any impact that takes it all the way back to 32. Would we recommend that we have another survey done?
I think that it's not so much the survey. This has already been determined. I don't know, I think 2006, something like that, with the planning board. These are things that would have to be done by the village, not so much the town, to move forward on it. It's just part of it is the land, and they need the land to do it. And so that's our only part in this entire thing. Traffic light is definitely going in, has to go in, because that's what at the time it was the town board, but now as deemed necessary.
Joe needs to be muted
Hold on, guys.
because everything's repeating
Everyone
through
else
Joe's
has to be
phone.
muted, Clara, because Frank is getting an echo.
Yeah, it was Joe's phone. It was repeating through there.
Okay, did you guys hear what I said?
Yep, I heard you.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Maybe I can clarify it. Tom, this is work that was approved when the site plan for the development was approved. So it's not like the town is making any traffic improvements at this point. In order to get new certificates of occupancy, they need to complete this work as it was approved many years ago. And the county's also doing their own road improvements there. So it's not something that we're going to change at this point. In order to get, this has already been approved. This work just needs to be performed in accordance with those approvals.
I got you. But back when it was done, the Route 32 and Exit 131 were not completed, and I just making sure that we didn't need to revisit it. I understand the right lane. I understand what they're trying to do, but I just wanted to just make sure that we have everything covered. That's all.
Hey, Tom?
Yep.
Yeah, I spoke to
Just
Tom about
remember
this,
that-
and I agreed with Tom on this, because when the work was done over at the exchange, that traffic design was created specifically a certain way. So the concern is if we place lights in areas that were not part of the initial design, are we now creating a problem? Because remember, like what Tom said, this issue was designed, or this portion of it was designed with the anticipation of the design, the traffic pattern being what it used to be. So if it's not that, are we, by us allowing this, is this going to now interrupt the flow that was designed to prevent any type of stoppage on that road?
Well, just remember that the new road between the high school and the Central Valley Elementary School that was put in, so the buses can avoid that intersection to a degree. So, that will take some load off of that intersection too.
That's right. That's true. Yep.
I think this light, the county doesn't work blind and the state doesn't work blind. They knew this light was going in. And the only thing this light is going to do is improve the traffic there. It's not going to, they can change the timing so nothing backs up during school time. It's really makes it easier for the buses to cross while the kids are lining up and all the cars are trying to get in. So it's not like it wasn't, I don't think they didn't take that into account when they did that. I think they knew about it. They've known about it since the plans were submitted. So, I mean, to revisit it again I don't think is really going to change anything.
I would also like to say, it's not up to us to revisit it. It has nothing to do with the town. This is strictly between the village and the county and the state. They're putting that light in, no matter what study comes up, that light's going in. And as Bob said, it should improve the traffic because they've got the new road that's going down to 32. that the school buses can go in. And I was also told that it's going to be, I don't know what it's called, but like when you go to the light and let's say you're sitting there for a while, it'll automatically move forward in the light structure. It's not like it's set for 1 minute and set for 30 seconds. It's a pulse. They call it the pulse. So once you get to that intersection and something starts to back up, the lights will change so that you don't have all that backup. And once again, the only issue that is involved that the town has any say in this is whether we're going to let them do it or not. And at this point, I mean, they're going to do it. It's not, they'll take it through eminent domain, if anything. And it will just hold everything up. The reality of it is do we want to be responsible or liable for that intersection? And I would suggest strongly that the town moves forward in a favorable way so to get this completed. And the sooner it gets done, the less liability the town will have.
Well, with that being said, I can go along with that. I can agree with that because we all know in the very, very near future, it's a heavily traveled, Nininger is heavily traveled now. Forget about it in the next year or so. So for us to get it out from under us, that's a good point. Yep.
You want me to read the resolution that Joe sent since he can't read it? And okay. So
Please.
it's whereas the town has received correspondence from the County of Orange indicating that roadwork permits have been applied for in connection with the installation of a traffic light at Nininger and Dunderberg roads. And whereas the Orange County's review indicates that a portion of the work to be performed is on town property. And whereas Orange County is seeking confirmation from the town that it consents to the work being performed. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town attorney to review and research the work to be performed and to prepare such documents as may be necessary for review and further action by the town board.
Okay. I can read this letter if you want that came in from Eric Denninger. He's the Orange County Commissioner of Roads. And it says that this department has received a letter dated April 8th. This is to the Village of Woodbury. The letter is written to the Village of Woodbury about the letter from Woodbury, which we did receive and I did send out. That came from Gary Thomasberger, informing us of this whole process.
I don't know what letter you're talking about because I never received what you're talking about. The only thing we got in the packets was the Orange County Department of Public Works letter to the applicant, Mr. Revitz.
I know, I just attached this to what's going on for my reference.
Okay, can you make sure I can get it? Because I'm sure it'll be foiled tomorrow since you're mentioning it now.
It's not a problem, but it came from the village, so I'm surprised that you don't have that. But anyway.
The village building department or the village?
The village, it's in response to the village's letter concerning this project. So I'll get you the letter. That's not a problem. Okay?
No, but I have to put it in the minutes what you're talking about. So you're reading a letter from who to who?
From Eric Denninger. He is the commissioner, Orange County Commissioner for Roads and Public Works. And it is to Eli Ravitz, Woodbury Villas, 4 Lionel Passage, Monroe, New York, 10950. And it's in response to the County 64 Nininger and County 95 Thunderberg, Village of Woodbury, New York, Highway Improvements Plan, Orange County Department of Public Works permit, and it gives the number 64-11410-19. And it says the department has received your letter dated April 8th, 2020, relating to the proposed highway boundary shown on the site plan prepared by Master Consulting entitled Highway Improvement Plans for Woodbury Villas, dated August 18th, 2006. Last revised October 25th, 2018. This department has the understanding that the site plan approval was originally issued by the town of Woodbury. However, this does not constitute authorization from the town of Woodbury to perform work on the town of Woodbury property. As previously indicated in my letter, March dated March 11, 2020, which I do not have a copy of. This office cannot authorize work on private property without a legal conveyance in place. Additionally, we note that to date, this office has not received any correspondence from the property owners, meaning the town of Woodbury, relating to this matter. So this is basically what we're trying to do here today, is to convey to the county that we are interested in conveying the property to them. This department does not have the ability nor the legal authority to permit work on land owned by the town of Woodbury until the land has been acquired from or an easement has been granted by the town of Woodbury to the county of Orange. Upon acceptable resolution to this issue, the Orange County DPW anticipates being able to issue a permit to allow the construction of the traffic signal and road widening pursuant to your permit application with respect to County Road 64 and 95. So basically, what they will not allow anything to move forward unless we let them know that we don't have a problem and we're willing to convey it, which is basically, Joe, is that basically what your letter is trying to say to them?
While we're waiting for Joe to come on, I just want to do a correction. The letter you just read, I do have and was distributed. It was not to the Village of Woodbury. It was from actually Anthony Traciano, who is the principal engineer with the Commissioner of
Right.
Public. And it was
Correct.
addressed to Mr. Ravitz from Woodbury Villas. It was not from the Village of Woodbury.
No, I'm saying it's in reference to the Village of Woodbury.
It's in reference to his plans that are in the Village of Woodbury.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
I'm sorry, you had said before that the letter came from the village, so I'm just trying to get it clarified for the minutes, that's all.
No, we did get a letter from the village, from the building
Okay.
department explaining this.
Okay.
Joe, did you catch what I said?
Yes, I heard everything. Yeah, and my resolution, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with the county and the property owners to ensure that the permit can be issued and the work can be completed with the ultimate goal of likely transferring the property to the county.
Okay. I need a motion and a second.
I'll
Authorize
motion.
resolution.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Desiree, please.
Mr. Palermo,
Yes.
Councilman Burke,
Yes.
Councilman Etzel,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number D. Try to figure that one out, okay? Letter D. Discussion regarding, I wrote it in as the KJ pipeline because that's how I looked at it. It actually is not just about the KJ pipeline. I would ask Desiree to please read the resolution and then we can discuss it because it states in the resolution exactly what there is to be discussed. Desiree, please.
Whereas on or about March 10th, 2020, the town of Woodbury, herein referred to as the town, received a written request from the Village of Kairos Joel, herein referred to as the village, seeking to have certain properties owned by the village located within the town exempt from taxation pursuant to real property tax law, section 4063. And whereas the village's request seeks an exemption from taxation for the parcels identified by section block and lots as 213-164.1, 213-149, 202-119, 202-1-19, 247-4-16, 205-4-8, 999-7-1, and 999-7-2, based upon the assertion that the parcels are used for water supply purposes. And whereas the village's letter offered to meet the town representatives to discuss potential settlement of tax certiorari actions now pending between the town and the village, and to explain further the basis for its request for the tax exemptions and of their beliefs that this should be granted. And whereas the town accepted the village's offer to meet to discuss the pending actions and the requested exemptions, but received no further communication from the village. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that pursuant to the authority vested in the town board by real property tax law, section 4063, requested tax exemptions for the properties listed herein are denied.
All right, so just a little background. I did meet Gedalia, at a county sewer meeting, and we did discuss his request, and I asked that we get together and we discuss it, and he agreed wholeheartedly. In fact, his attorney was present and said that he would get to work on it right away, and I stated that I will have our attorney, Joe McKay, get in touch with their attorney and set up a meeting. I called Joe up immediately, and he sent off an email to their attorney asking for some dates so that we can get together. This was quite a while ago. If I'm not mistaken, it was probably like in the second or third week of March, maybe even around that time. And no, hey Joe, did they do it before that or no?
There was the emails and this letter kind of crossed paths, but but their attorney did reach out to me by email, offering to meet, as I explained in the resolution. You and I discussed it, and I wrote back to the village's attorney, and I said, yes, we would like to meet to try to resolve these issues. I told them that we were both available the following week, which I believe the date of my email was March 8th or 9th. And that was the last communication. And then this letter, I believe, is the actual letter was dated, I believe, the 9th. But we didn't hear anything from the village attorneys after that.
Right, and just so that you know, first of all, by law, we can tax them for the water for these properties. It's not like we're doing it, and they've taken us to court several times, and we've won basically every time. Still in litigation for last year's tax proposals, and all this is doing is, if we vote it down, they still have the right to go before the Board of Assessment Review and plead their case to them. And the fact that they have not made any attempt to get back in touch with us, I am in complete agreement with what the resolution says, and that is to them. Any discussion on the board?
Oh, you got to mute. Thank you.
Bob? Councilman Hunter, you got anything you want to add to this?
No, I think we should go ahead with Joe's resolution.
Okay, Tom, how about you?
I agree with Joe.
Okay, Jackie?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, Tyler?
I agree also.
Okay, well, then I need a motion and a second to move this forward.
Make the motion.
Tom Burke. Tom will second.
Okay, Desiree, please.
Supervisor Palermo,
Yes.
Councilman Burke,
Yes.
Councilman Etzel,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Okay, passed. Thank you. Okay, E, the reappointment of Warren Greer to fill the Board of Assessment position. The term will run through 9/30/21. The reason for this is you have 30 days to go in and to be sworn in by the town clerk. But with all that's been going on, he can't get into to see the town clerk. I asked about doing it video, and as Desiree explained to me, they can do notaries, but they can't do swearing ins. So all we're doing is just resetting the clock for another 30 days. Correct, Desiree?
Yeah, it expires today, his 30-day clock. He had called on Tuesday to try to get in. But unfortunately, by then, we had no way of being able to do that. So that's why we're at this now.
Okay, so I will make that motion to reappoint Warren Greer, and I guess his clock will start another 30 days. Do I got a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Desiree, please.
Supervisor Palermo,
Yes.
Councilman Burke,
Yes.
Councilman Etzel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I've added the letter F, not the number F, the letter F. Jackie had asked me to put on the board meeting for us to come up with some kind of time period and a date to have an informational meeting. It would probably be done this way, video with a conference video call for the pool. Jackie, you want to take over for a few minutes?
Yeah, so it's been a conversation among the board members to utilize this time productively for the residents, being that many residents are currently at home, working from home, or maybe unemployed. This may be a good time for us to provide information for residents to review for the pool. It is a very sensitive time also, just because financially, I think businesses and residents are hurting at this time. So we really wanted to focus in on it being a positive time of us gathering together, thinking towards a more positive future. I think everyone is stir crazy with being at home. So using this time productively towards designing or choosing a design for the pool that we're going to replace, a pool concept that we will use to replace the current pool. So the idea would be is that we would host a forum similar to this, where we would provide an opportunity for residents to ask questions to the engineer and our town engineer. It'll also allow me to do a slideshow of the different pool concepts that were created by Al, our town engineer, as well as to review the breakdown of the financials. So this would be one of the two ways. Initially, when we talked about putting this together, it was going to be as a public meeting. We were going to host two different times to provide the community with the opportunity to review it. And then we were going to have it located in a physical place. So I did speak with Joey, and Joey suggested possibly having it as a billboard that could be placed at the community center. They could put it out early in the morning, and people who would like to kind of drive by and look at it physically could see it physically there. And then at the end of the day, they could put it away. So that would be a location for people, and it would be outside the building. So it would be kind of like we would just reinforce social distancing. And if somebody is reviewing the plans, so of course they remain in the car until the person is done. And then we're also going to put the centerfold. The Photo News has reserved the center fold of the newspaper, not this coming, but the following edition, so that we could provide in print the three concepts, as well as the costs analysis of the three pools, as well as a physical survey that people could sign, they can fill out, and they can mail in. So we're really trying to think of the various ways that we can get as much participation from the community as possible. And then the last would be that it would be available on the town website. So we would try to have 4 venues for people to be able to see it, and hopefully participate in giving us their input. So right now, what I just wanted to do is really just ask the town board, because it is time sensitive and I would have to submit the information for the Photo News relatively soon. We have to come up with a date to host a virtual meeting for the public to be able to participate and to provide, to ask questions. And we would then be able to coordinate with our town engineer as well as the pool engineer. So the recommendation would be, my recommendation would be to at least, and Desiree, you could chime in on this, what, 3 weeks at least to publicize it before we have it? What were your thoughts,
Well,
Jane?
what exactly are you publicizing? Are you just publicizing it in the centerfold, or are you going to actually,
Oh, I lost you. It would be for the virtual meeting, that we will host for the community.
so there's nothing that needs to be publicized, and whenever you call a special meeting, I just have to notify the media of it, which I just simply send them an email for informational purposes. I also have to post it on our bulletin board, which nobody can see because nobody can get in the building to see it.
Yeah.
But if you include it in your centerfold advertising that you're doing in the photo news, that would serve that purpose as well. Plus,
Okay.
but I would also need a copy of that. So I have it for the record.
Sure. Okay. So then, I guess the board, what would you guys suggest, being that there's no real restriction, being that we're going to be publicizing it in a newspaper? I'm thinking 3 weeks from now, a month from now, we would need some time to process the information that we gather. So if we are, I would say maybe sometime by the second or third week of May. Last year, I mean, the last notice that we put out, we had a evening and we had a morning session. We had 2 sessions in case a person couldn't attend the first session. We could still kind of use that. So let's say if we did the 6th of May in the evening and then maybe a Saturday morning, like the 9th of May, we could kind of follow the same format. It shouldn't really matter, but if people are working during the day and they can't make it because they have to work virtually. So my recommendation, I'm putting out dates the 6th of May. It could be 7:30. And then I think on that Saturday, the 9th, Clara, do you remember what time we put for the morning session on that
10
Saturday?
o'clock.
It was 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Jackie, can I just interrupt for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
The ad is going into the paper on the 24th. So I would actually do it 3 weeks from then would be the week of the 11th. So
So the
we might-
13th. Yeah, okay.
right. So 13th, maybe the 13th and the 16th.
Okay.
Does
So,
everybody okay with that?
okay, so
Plus,
we,
we have-
I think that's
plus we
better,
have-
Frank.
Yeah, because we have a town board meeting also in between, and we can talk it up and remind people who didn't get in on the 13th to tune in on that Saturday.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we would be looking at the
6:30.
15th at 7:30 PM. That would be a virtual, and then we would host one more, the 16th at 10 AM. And we're going to advertise that in the newspaper. And Desiree, I'll get all that information over to you.
Jackie, I have a question. Are you just going to do a presentation during these times? Because with 6 or 8 of us or whatever, it's pretty hard talking back and forth. I don't know how you would do it with a crowd.
Yeah, I would imagine that we could do it one of 2 ways. And I agree with you, Tyler. Clara and I were kind of back and forth as to what this would look like, and it can get very complicated. We could do it where we mute everybody on the call, and then the moderator people can write their questions in, and then the moderator would ask the questions to the engineer, and so that it's real-time conversation. But it wouldn't be where anybody could talk. It would be strictly for information, and then the moderator would ask the questions. It would be kind of very similar to what the governor or our county exec does, where they say, operator, is there a question? So rather than the person asking, she'll say, Jackie Hernandez from Woodbury asks, how long would it take to install this pool? So that question would be only from the moderator. So we would have a little control over the conversation there.
All right, well, listen, we're in uncharted waters anyway, so let's go forward and try it,
And Jackie, for advertising purposes, how long do you, how soon, Desiree, could we get it on 22, channel 22 if possible?
I don't do that, so I'm not sure of the answer to that question.
Yeah, Fran actually mentioned to me that she can get the information up if we print it out. She can get it up the same day.
Oh, you mean the notification? I'm sorry, I thought you meant the broadcasting of the meeting.
No,
No.
for
Oh,
the- yeah,
the-
as far
yeah,
as this,
that can go up, she works on Mondays and Fridays, so as long as you get it to me, whenever you get it to me, she'll put it on her next working day.
okay, so we'll get those dates. And then what I'm looking to do, the format would be very simple. I would create a slideshow, and on the slideshow, I would present three. I would
There's
the
an
three. I
echo.
think you did three. Am I getting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody's got it mute.
Someone's got a phone on.
Okay. I would do the 3 pools, and then I would show the matrix that shows the breakdown of the pools and the cost, and go over that. And then basically from that point on, maybe a short timeline based on, if we get responses, what's the timeline that we're looking at? Because again, our timeline is still very difficult because the voting has changed. I know we discussed that last week as far as the when we're going to vote. That's going to throw off when we can vote on the pool. So there's still a lot of unknowns that we really can't answer. So right
Well-
now, the idea would be for us to just at least gather. Go ahead, Desiree.
The voting we had initially penciled in for, I think it was July 14th.
Right.
But
Do you-
your
Correct.
time frame now is going to make it impossible because you haven't even adopted a resolution, a proposition resolution yet. So I don't know when you plan on doing that. If you're not having these meetings till the 13th and the 16th, do you plan on adopting a resolution on the 21st to go out to vote?
Yeah, my hope is that the centerfold that's going to go out, it's going to have a survey on there that people can mail in. We're also going to advertise in there that they can go to the website and fill out an online survey. And then my hope is that this will be kind of like that final item where if people have questions, they can ask those questions. And then I'm hoping that we would be able to go through all the data that week and be prepared for the next town board meeting for some type of resolution. But yeah, you're right. It is going to be very tight.
It's going to be very tight, and depending on, excuse me, so if you're only having those presentations on the 14th and 16th, and then you're asking people to submit the survey, you have to give them some time to do that. So now you're looking at maybe the first meeting in June, being able to present those results. And then assuming you make a decision maybe before the results are presented to the bond resolution, the bond council can prepare the proposition. I don't know if that gives the ballot printer enough time to print the ballots for it to be July 14th. I mean, it's
we would
really,
have
really,
to-
are you guys still planning on having a vote? Because I was under the impression that that may not be happening.
We're not sure yet, Desiree. We'll discuss that amongst the town board members.
Okay.
In between, we're gonna have some kind of work sessions, I'm sure. And actually, the survey is going out on the 24th in the newspaper. So they'll
But the
have 3
survey is
weeks.
going to be, that's going to be based on the information provided at the presentations though, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
No.
we're going to have a deadline. We're going to have a deadline for these surveys to be completed. So you figure the 24th, it'll be out on the 24th, and we're going to give the residents up until probably the ending, when we do that final presentation, it will be probably by that Sunday, the 17th, for people to finally, because we're going to give them about 3 weeks. So we're going to do it on the website. We're going to send it out through the Parks and Rec email. We're going to have it posted up at the at the community center. And then these final meetings are really going to be like, after people have reviewed it and seen it, if they have questions, they can ask those questions. And then probably a deadline of the 17th. So then we have time to process it and get an idea. If we see that 30% wants 1, 30 wants 2, 30 wants 3, then obviously that's a big dilemma. But if we see that the large majority of the people that are completing the survey wants, let's say, the second one, well, then that'll be a clearer direction for the board to follow.
How are you keeping track so that only person submits one survey and not multiple?
So the survey is going to have the residents' information on it. So it'll be their first name, last name, their address. So when they're logging in, that information is going to be collected in total. And of course, I'll forward that information to you as we get it so that you have that information in front of you too. But yeah, so the idea is that it's going to be, I know that Willa from the committee is working on it. I've been trying to reach out to her to get an idea. We came up with an initial survey and she was going to kind of clean it up and work on that. So once we get that, we'll have that available. But I believe the pools are actually on the website right now. Clara, is that correct? The pool options, not
Concepts.
yet. Okay, not
So-
yet. Okay, so we held off on it until.
Jackie, I have a question.
Yeah.
What if you created a presentation and put it on the website so people could review the presentation before we have our meeting, and then they'd have time to think about questions? They can come up with more accurate questions and it would save us a lot of time. And you could put in the ad that you have a presentation on the website.
That's a good idea.
And we don't have to have our consultants sitting there through 2 presentations and pay them for that.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it is a very good idea. Thank you. That's a good idea, Tyler.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So yeah, we can absolutely do that, and then it'll. I know that Clara already created a folder for the pool, so we'll just refer them to how to
Yes.
get there. I know Clara took like pictures, and she kind of just showed people that wanted to navigate it, and then the photo
Diagrams on
news
how to
would.
go.
Yeah, and then the photo news would be for anybody that maybe is not on their computer as much, and they would get it that way or by email. So yeah, so we can email the presentation also. It's just if they don't have the, I use PowerPoint. If you don't have PowerPoint, you won't be able to see the presentation. So that would be the only problem. But we can always post the slides on it, and that's fine.
Okay,
I have
Okay.
my information. Thank you, Frank.
we have the date, so let's, we got to move forward. Do we only have this until 8:30? Or we can go longer, Clara?
Yeah, I was wondering how long.
It won't sign off. You can keep going.
All right, so let's
No worries.
move forward then. We got the dates. All right, department reports. Desiree, can you read I have only the February.
Correct, we only got the February one.
Right,
It shows receipts totaling $203,483.70 and disbursements totaling $1,217,884.82.
okay, I need a motion and a second to accept the supervisor's report. I can't do it, so,
I'll make that motion.
Tom will second.
okay, Desiree, please.
Supervisor Palermo,
Yes,
Councilman Burke,
Yes.
Councilman Etzel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Thank you.
okay. I have the town clerk's report for February and March 2020. We've received the buildings and grounds for February and March 2020. The ACO report for both February and March of 2020. Police communications report, February and March 2020. Beautification Committee, March 5th, 2020, their minutes. Library, February 25th, 2020 minutes. Parks and Recreation, February 18th, 2020 minutes. And you have the budget versus actual for both February and March 2020. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
You laughed at
Sorry.
something.
I was advising Joe that he should be careful when he gets up and moves around at the meeting.
I turned
Oh.
around to the camera.
Okay, because I can't see.
That was
it.
my best side.
Well, that's what some people say. All right, town board comments. Tom, what do you got?
All right. I've been, while driving around the town, I have to say to the department head, I just want to make a comment about the department heads and all their employees. The job they're doing is just phenomenal. The parks department and the buildings and grounds, the fence they put back up for the animal shelter, the work they're doing at the res, making more room for this coming summer. And also at the same time, they're cleaning the town, all the town buildings. Also, Desiree's department, the hours that they're working is over and above, even though I know they're doing more than they really should be. The police department, they're making multiple rounds. I'm seeing them at the res all the time. I'm seeing them up and down our town, our roads, the everything that they're doing. I just can't say enough about them. And I really appreciate everything they're doing. I know it's wonderful. I just want to say, where I work, and now when I come up, and I'm one of the many in the town in our community that commute. So it's just so important that we just maintain what we're doing with our social distancing. What's being done, what we need to do to keep ourselves healthy. Our community is doing a tremendous job. I go up when I walk on the weekends and I walk around the res. I see everybody, making that effort. And as long as we continue to do that, I think that we're going to come out way out in front of all the reports that come out when the numbers. Woodbury's going to come out really, really doing well. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Tom. Jackie,
Hola. Okay,
we can't hear you, Jackie.
I agree with Tom. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but I got to say that the buildings and ground has been doing an impeccable job. Department heads are saying how well kept the buildings have been, and then of course, the grounds at the park. So anything that needs to be done, it gets inputted, and I mean, it's done the next day. So I agree. I'm just tip my hat to them. The police department unfortunately has been getting a lot of complaints from residents who are complaining about gatherings. So again, just remember that I think everyone, as we practice our social distancing, we all can become a little irritable with being kind of cooped up. So just in general, if there's any complaints that you may have about gathering that you're seeing, just please give a call to the police department. They have no problem taking a write up and dispersing anything. Also at the parks department, we have our security guards that are monitoring, making sure that, either people are walking on the trails and they're maintaining social distancing, or they're fishing. We want to encourage taking those getting fresh air and taking those walks, but also maintaining the distance for our safety. I want to just shout out the senior center this week, because Christine did an outstanding job. Thanks to the support of Clara with updating our volunteers, as well as working with Emily from Colin Schmidt's office. Christine was able to not only help to vet a lot of the phone calls coming in for the meals that are being offered at Falkirk with the village, but she was also able, there were two community members, Christopher Miley and Christopher O'Connor, who donated food for the seniors, for over 20 seniors, so that they did not have to go out and purchase food. And Christine coordinated that. Tyler jumped in and helped with transporting the food. So it really was a concerted effort with everyone. And the seniors were ecstatic. They were super happy, so just so happy with the fact that we were getting food to them and they didn't have to go to the stores. We also had a resident that was reported not having trouble with cable, and Frank has been reaching out to him to deal with that issue. So again, as you have needs, please bring it forth to us and we will make sure that we get that help for you. Also, as the governor is shifting towards recovery, we still, as many residents are still really mourning deaths of friends and families and coworkers. It is a very sad time in our community, especially those who are impacted by COVID-19. And we want to, of course, be very sensitive to this. So as we begin to move towards a period of recovery, very slowly and cautiously, our town is also making those adjustments as we're being guided by the governor. So as we begin to see him making those moves, we will do those things cautiously, of course, always keeping in mind our small businesses that are struggling right now, as well as our children that are home, that are anxious, that are feeling anxiety, parents that are home with their kids that are going through that too. So we just want to encourage you. We are at what they call the midpoint, which is where we're seeing plateaus. The numbers are prayerfully going to go down, and with that, we're going to see better days. So I want to encourage everybody as we move towards hopefully a recovery. Thank you.
Yes, that's me. I can't hear Frank. I don't really have,
I'm sorry, my mic was off.
okay. I don't need to reiterate what everybody said. The only thing I could add to that is everybody please wear a mask when they go out. It's not so much for you, but it's for what you can transfer to somebody else. And if everybody does that, we'll get out of this a lot quicker. Thanks.
Okay, Councilman Hunter.
Yeah, I'd just like to agree wholeheartedly with what Tom said before. Our departments are really doing well under some really stressful and difficult times. Also, I'd like to thank our ambulance and fire volunteers for being right out there on the front line as they are, and they're really exposed to it too. So many thanks to them. Also, Colin Schmidt, our assemblyman, along with Falkirk Country Club, has put together meals twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe. And they really stepped up to the plate with that. I believe there's 140 going out each Tuesday and Thursday. And our mayor is involved with that too. So thank you to the mayor and all the volunteers who are distributing those meals. Thank you.
Okay, Desiree, you're not on my camera anymore, so
Oh,
how about?
sorry about that.
Okay.
I just wanted to remind everybody that if you do need something notarized, we are doing that virtually through my office. The way we are doing that, again, is through Facebook video messaging. So if you need help with how to do that, you can call the office. We are doing that Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 to 2. Fishing licenses, we are still selling an enormous amount of fishing licenses, more than we normally do. And I think that's because people who usually maybe go to other places that I don't want to say because I don't want to advertise for them, can't because they're not open. So we are still doing fishing licenses via the telephone, using with a credit card. There's a $1.50 surcharge, which is not something the town charges. It's charged by the credit card processing fee, and I cannot get that waived. I'm sorry, not something we are doing. We are still doing dog licenses, so you will get them in the mail if it's come time, as well as disabled permits. We are trying to do the best as we can, do all that remotely. Just to remind the public, there will be no election held on April 28th. That has been canceled and postponed to June 23rd, I believe it is off the top of my head. Earlier this month, everyone who's registered to vote in Woodbury should have received a large size yellow postcard that tells you when and where you vote. It's very important that you pay attention to that because polling places once again did change in Woodbury. So pay attention to that. I'm going to do a Facebook video on that early next week. So because I'm of course working from home, so I don't have that information with me. I don't want to give out the wrong information. I think I have it by heart, but I don't want to say it wrong if I don't. And I just want to recognize that a lifelong resident of this community, Emily McKay, passed away since our last meeting. For those of you who don't know Emily, she is Colleen McKay's mother, Colleen from Jay's Deli, and also a very, very generous family to this community, and she will be sorely missed.
Okay, thank you. All right. First, my first thing to announce is unfortunately, I've been in contact with Mr. Morello. He runs the Memorial Day Parade, and we're going to be canceling the Memorial Day Parade this year, not knowing what, considering that essential businesses still can't open until May 15th. It's been pushed back an entire month. We don't know if it will continue. So rather than go on the premise that it might be beyond, we're going to cancel that parade. Unfortunately, I have spoken with him. I've spoken with, just talking to Desiree about, I don't know if we're going to, a 4th of July celebration will occur either. So we're kind of looking at possibly a Labor Day celebration that will not only celebrate our veterans, but also those that have been out there working in the emergency services, nurses and doctors and things like that, and recognize people in town who have done tremendous work for this community at a time when we need it most. So right now, for sure, the Memorial Day Parade has been postponed or canceled as of now, and I don't think that's changing. I want to also thank Rena Razada and her son Rohan, who is a junior deputy supervisor. I think combined they made about 150 to 175 masks for our seniors, and also for Jackie in her upper room to hand out, and things like that are just tremendous. You can't say enough. And I sent her a little note about how proud I am of Rohan. He even made cookies for the seniors, so that he made himself. And I told her how proud I am that this is what our junior deputy supervisors, this is why they're junior deputy supervisors. And it makes me very proud of Mr. Rohan. And also Sharu Krishan, I had mentioned at the last meeting, I had texted her and asked if we can get about another 40, which she did. I don't know, I'm not sure, Jackie, if she did even more than that again.
She gave us an additional 50 for the upper room care packages that we just sent out to health responders today.
So I just think that this kind of commitment to our community shows you why we love Woodbury, and it's just amazing how people can really step up. And I'm so happy that and proud that they live in Woodbury, and that I'm the supervisor of a community that has done so much for so many people at times of needs. Other than that, I want to wish everybody healthy and to please stay safe, stay inside, wear your masks. I'm trying to think. Hold on a second. It takes all of 5 seconds to put on, and you'll be saving a life. So please do the right thing. Have a great day, and God bless. I need a motion to close.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. I think we can all say in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. God bless the United States, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Good night.
Right.
Night.
Good night.